before we get into the video, if my face looks even redder than it does normally, that's because I went to the beach yesterday and I got a little bit sunburnt. I also got sand in places where there should not be sand. Word to you, mother. My name's Steve, this channel is Frags Twitches. Thanks for tuning in, you're a fucking legend. Today I'm looking at two fragrances from the house of Kierin NYC. I'm looking at Nitro Noir and 10am Flirt. So, regular viewers may know that I previously reviewed Sunday Brunch and Santal Sky, and Mona at Kierin NYC saw that video and said, do you want to try the other fragrances? I send you a couple of samples. So she sent me these 10ml samples for free. I did not pay for these. So that means you can take what I'm about to say with a pinch of salt, because it may mean that I've been influenced on some subconscious level to say nice things because I've got these for free. Well, I tell you what, it's not completely worked, because one of these fragrances I really like and one of them I do not. So let's start with Nitro Noir then. So as with all of the fragrances from Kierin NYC, this is unisex, and it is also, as it says on the box, clean, conscious, cruelty-free and vegan. And I do like the house of Kierin NYC. I like kind of what they're doing. I like the 4 different fragrances for different types. I love the kind of styling, the fact that it's kind of retro yet sort of modern and kind of chic and kind of cool and funky. And of course, I love the fact that you can get niche fragrances for the price of designer fragrances. So I do kind of really admire the house and what they're doing. So this one, as I say, is a unisex fragrance, as is all of them. At the top, it opens up with some bergamot, there's some pink berries, there's patchouli, and there's orris. Now, the blurb on this one, it says that the vibe is intoxicating, and what was the other word they kind of use? It says intoxicating and hypnotic. And I kind of get that vibe, because when I first smelt this, I just sprayed this on my arm before filming, and when I first smelt it, I was like, ooh, that is kind of different, that's really interesting, and it did sort of lure me in, and straight away I couldn't decide if I really liked it or if I just really didn't. It was weird. I was kind of like, oh, that is kind of, my instant kind of response was, oh, that's really nice. And I kind of got lured into it and I was kind of smelling it. But then as it slowly, like a couple of minutes in, it slowly started to dry down. I kind of started losing it a little bit and I kind of went off of it. So this opens and it's got this kind of fresh, and you get, I might actually do a fresh spray just to kind of remind myself. But yeah, the pink berries offer this real kind of sweetness to it. So yeah, like at the top, you get some of the bergamot, that sort of freshness, but that sort of dissipates quite quickly. And then you'll get this sweetness from the pink berries, but it comes through a little bit stronger a few minutes in. But the first thing that kind of reminds me is this kind of chalky, like chalky sweets or chalky candy. So, you know, you kind of get like the refresher sweets or Parma violets. Now I emphasize this doesn't smell like violet, but those sweets, those kind of chalky little sweets that you get, but like a berry flavor, like a sweet kind of berry flavor. So that's what it reminds me of. There's this kind of, I wouldn't say powderiness, because that might deceive you and sort of compare to, you know, the Jour-Homme, etc. It's more kind of chalky. That's kind of the vibe I get. And then as it starts to dry down, the sweetness kind of becomes a bit more, it's kind of a little bit more obvious, but then the patchouli comes through a lot more stronger. So it then gets this kind of subtle sort of earthiness to it. Now, somebody on Fragrantica said that this is, you know, they weren't very positive about it, and they said that it smells like an old woman. Now, I wouldn't go that far, but this kind of reminds me, I can imagine an elder lady wearing this, but I could also imagine a young, cool, funky dude kind of wearing it, just because it's, you know, a bit retro and a bit like ironic and kind of, and don't get me wrong, it's you know, it's not a bad smell, but basically I'm not feeling this one. This is just not, I'm not feeling this. I find the chalkiness is not really for me with the sweet berries. This is for me a touch too feminine. It works on the feminine side, and I think it probably is a little bit more mature. And as I said with Santal Sky, it doesn't mean that men can't wear this. Lots of people on Fragrantica, a lot of guys in there saying they wear it. I'm sure people will comment below this video saying that they're wearing it. So I'm not saying you can't. You know, what works for you and etc. and whatever your skin chemistry, and wear what you enjoy. But For me, I can't get into this. This is not, I don't feel particularly sexy kind of wearing it. It just, yeah, it just doesn't gel with me. I'm not feeling this fragrance, unfortunately. As I say, for me, you get this, the sort of berries are quite kind of sweet, but they're not like sickly sweet. I wouldn't say they're intense, but they do remind me of, it's more feminine and probably more of an elder lady, and I don't like the chalkiness, and patchouli's not I'm not a big fan of patchouli. This patchouli is quite clean. It's quite like a good quality patchouli, I would say. But again, I'm not a big fan of patchouli. It gives it this sort of subtle kind of earthiness to it that I don't really enjoy. So yeah, unfortunately, Nitro Noir I'm not feeling. Next up is 10am Flirt. Now, I much prefer this to the previous Nitro Noir. So again, this is unisex as before, but I would say on the whole spectrum of sexuality, I would say this one sits slightly more masculine than feminine. But again, it is perfectly unisex, so ladies, don't be put off by this one. But this is much more up my street and is my kind of fragrance. This is, in short, is quite sort of light and fresh and clean. This, as I say, is unisex. At the top, there's gardenia, there's also sandalwood, cashmere wood, but there's also figs. This is a fig-based fragrance. And I've previously said that fig kind of isn't for me after I blind bought Z Milan from the House of Xenia, which is a very kind of fig-based fragrance. This is my sort of first fig. I've sort of said that I kind of like fig, but I wouldn't pursue fig fragrances because it's not my kind of vibe. But this one's almost sort of broke that mold actually, because the fig in this does smell quite different to the fig that I get from Xenia Z Milan. Now, I don't know if it's because the fig in this, if it's just what it's blended with and the other notes, or if the fig in this one is just better quality, because the Milan from Xenia is a very affordable fragrance, so it might just be a kind of cheaper ingredient that's producing that fig smell. I don't know, but that one I would say is kind of more figgy. This one to me is very fresh and clean at the top, and I get this kind of grassy accord. So it's actually a Benjamin, a Santal fragrance, said that you kind of get the gardenia, you get like a grassy accord, and then you get the fig. Now, I agree with him, to be honest, but I would go one step further. So I'd say that the fig, as I say, isn't really figgy. I think it's there, but it's quite nice, it's quite smooth, it's quite subtle, it's not too strong. I think it's much stronger in this. And I think the fig in this smells of better quality to me, but I'm not an experienced fig connoisseur. But I would say that that grassy accord that I can only assume is coming from the fig, maybe mixed in with the gardenia, I don't know. But the kind of grass accord almost starts smelling a little bit like tea to me. Now, I think it's just me. I don't think I saw anybody else on Fragrantica mention that. So let me know if you kind of get that. Now, this is not, as I say, it's a very subtle tea type accord to me. It's certainly nothing like the Sunday Brunch, which is a tea-based fragrance, which is also another note that I said doesn't really excite me. But I think, again, that kind of, I think it's blended with the gardenia. It just kind of works quite nicely. It's a very clean, fresh fragrance. That's, I wouldn't say it's sexy, maybe. Yeah, I think it's kind of lacking a little bit of oomph to say it's a date night fragrance. So this, obviously it's 10am Flirt, so I guess it's meeting somebody in the morning, like maybe the morning after, I don't know. But I don't know what the principle is behind that. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's kind of got enough oomph and something about it to make it a date night fragrance. So it's not like, you know, La Nuit de l'Homme's cardamom is very there and it's very sexy and alluring. I wouldn't say that with this. I would say that it's just a very lovely, clean fragrance that you could easily wear in the office. You could wear meeting up with somebody. I wouldn't wear it on a date night, but I would wear it if you can meeting up with them during the day or 10am in the morning or whatever. Because it's a very nice kind of sort of subtle, relaxing fragrance. It's not, the performance on this I found is a bit light. Projection is quite good for about an hour. Then it seems to move in because it's quite a light, fresh fragrance. It kind of wears in, and this is a bit of a downer, but I'm struggling to get more than sort of like 4 hours out of this. And I don't know if it's my skin, if it's the warmer weather that we've had, though lately it's not been too warm, or if it's just that type of fragrance. It's quite light and airy and I shouldn't expect much more from that. Because the other fragrances typically have lasted a lot longer. You could get 6 or 7 hours out of it, but this one seems to be a bit lacking, kind of 4 hours. I'm struggling to smell it at the 4-hour mark. So there you go, those are the 2 fragrances from Kierin NYC. Nitro Noir, not really for me. It's kind of like a chalky, berry flavoured chalky candy to me, chalky sweet with the patchouli coming in. That's a good quality patchouli, but a bit too kind of earthy. I'm not a patchouli fan, so for me, didn't particularly enjoy that one. 10am Flirt, much prefer. Definitely my type of fragrance, very clean, fresh, very versatile, but performance seems to be lacking. But I would say of all of their fragrances, that's my second favourite. If I had to put them all 4 of the fragrances in order, I would put Santal Sky at the top. That is the one that I really, really like. I really enjoy that one. That's definitely my favourite. But unfortunately, as I mentioned in my last video, it doesn't quite work on me. On my skin, it comes across as a little bit too feminine. So I'd really love my wife to wear it, or some female colleagues, because I think it'd smell amazing on a woman, and particularly in a professional work-like environment. Second, I would put Sunday Brunch. No, a lie. Second, I would put 10am Flirt. I really enjoy that one. It's very fresh, very clean, but it's just lacking a little bit of oomph. And with that lack of oomph, it's also lacking a bit of performance. Sunday Brunch is a very solid, safe blind buy, but particularly if you like tea. I think it works best if you're a fan of the note of tea, for obvious reasons. And then Nitro Noir, not really feeling that one. So there you go, that's my take on the fragrances from Kierin NYC. So thank you for watching. I hope you got something out of this video. If it was helpful, do let me know. I'll link the previous video down below. But other than that, you know the score, hit like, etc. Comment, let me know what your favourite is from the house of Kierin NYC. I'd be really intrigued to know. And if you haven't already done so, do please subscribe, because I'd really appreciate it. And we're really close to hitting that 3,000 mark. So yeah, that'd be great. Thanks again for watching. I will see you for the next video. Take care and much love.